Finally, we come to the main event. Rey Mysterio and CM Punk taking on Batista and The Undertaker. Batista and Punk start off the match, but when Dave tags in The Undertaker, Punk goes to tag in Rey. Rey seems to have a problem facing Taker, but does anyway since he has little choice. Once Dave gets tagged back in though, Rey seems more comfortable and starts to make a comeback. His momentum is dashed though because Batista tags Taker back in. The crowd has a mixed reaction because they want to cheer for Rey and Taker at the same time. Batista tags himself in after a couple moments. Drew and Eric come running down to interfere, but Punk hops down and stops them, smiling at Rey getting beat down by Batista. Things come to a conclusion when Rey, exhausted after spending most of the time in this match, falls to Batista for a third time. The crowd boos, but Batista soaks in the hatred, happy that he's dominated Rey again. Punk claps and gets on the mic congratulating Batista for another win, but it's time for Punk to introduce his final team member. The whole arena goes red as Kane's music plays, much to everyone's surprise. Kane walks out and down as all four men get into the ring and face off against Taker and Batista. Matt and R-Truth come running down and then chaos ensues. Officials come out to try to calm things down as we end the show. We start off week 4 with the November 16th Raw. John Cena opens the show and talks about how excited he is for Survivor Series. He calls out Ted to talk to him, which Ted obliges. John says that he hopes Ted realizes what kind of opportunity this is for him. Ted says that he's going to bring his A-game to Survivor Series, and he hopes Cena is ready. Cena says that they're going to tear down the house and wishes Ted luck. Ted says that luck will have nothing to do with his win. It'll all be about outskilling Cena with his wrestling ability. Cena again holds up the title belt and they just stare each other down. The first match of the night is Jack Swagger and Sheamus going over MVP and Mark Henry. This is a good 15-minute match with Sheamus getting the pin over MVP. Now, he stole the pin when it should have been Jack Swagger's pin. And after the match, Jack has words with Sheamus. Orton finds The Miz backstage and offers the U.S. champ the final spot on his team if he can beat Evan Bourne in a U.S. title match tonight. The match goes for a 10-minute finish that sees The Miz narrowly beat out Evan Bourne. After that, DX are backstage and are talking about getting ready for their match at Survivor Series against both Jericho, Big Show, and the Hart Dynasty. HBK says that they should find 2 wrestlers that are on the same level as both teams to face tonight as a warm-up. They walk around and they finally find Jamie Noble and Chavo Guerrero and press them into a match tonight, saying that if they don't come down to the ring, DX will find them and hurt them. Up next we get Kofi Kingston taking on Cody Rhodes. Upset over Orton's treatment of him, Kofi takes his frustrations out on Cody. Cody does his best to fight off Kofi, but it's all too much and he eventually loses. Orton is not only upset at Ted for not coming out to help the team last week, but also that Cody just lost to Kofi. He tells Ted that tonight they're facing the Colognes and they better win or they'll be hell to pay. The next match is DX taking on Chavo and Noble. Chavo eventually leaves the ring, allowing DX to pummel Jamie and pick up a pretty easy win. The main event is Randy Orton and Ted DiBiase taking on the Colognes. This is a good 15-minute match that sees Ted pin Primo, but chaos ensues when Kofi comes walking down, eager to face off against Orton. About halfway down, Cody comes running out and lays out Kofi. MVP and Mark Henry come out to make the save, but get sidetracked when Swagger and Sheamus attack him. It all comes to a head when John Cena's music plays and he comes running in from the audience and just joins the fray. John and Ted eventually meet, but before they can go at it, officials are interfering and getting between everyone as much as possible. November 17th edition of ECW, Christian finds Yoshi and is so apologetic about failing to come to his aid last week. Yoshi says not to worry, there's nothing he could have done because he was attacked. Christian says that he owes him big time and he'll be cheering for Yoshi tonight. The first match of the night sees Kozlov and Ezekiel Jackson go over Tyler Rex and Goldust. Both teams go at it for 15 minutes, but Rex falls again, this time to Jackson. Rex is really hard on himself, but Goldust tries to console him. The next match is Hurricane going over Paul Burchill. Paul thinks Hurricane is a joke, but he isn't so smarmy after Hurricane picks up the win. The main event is Yoshitatsu taking on William Regal. Regal tries to cheat several times, but Yoshi pulls an upset win, much to the surprise of Regal and the audience, and they cheer! Yay! Finally, we close out the last show before Survivor Series with the November 20th SmackDown. Punk opens the show with Drew, Eric, Kane, Teddy, and Vicky all in the ring. He calls Ray down, and when he arrives, Punk welcomes him with open arms, but Ray is really quiet and subdued. Punk says that Ray proved he deserved to be on his team last week by taking such an amount of punishment, but tonight Ray is going to solidify his membership by taking on R-Truth later on. Then he comes to Kane and tells him to take Matt out once and for all. Finally, he comes to Eric and starts to tell him how disappointed he is he was unable to take out Matt Hardy. Vicky asks him to give them one more chance. Punk says that they have one more chance. Find out who Taker is choosing as his final member and take them out. We open up the night with Beth Phoenix and Maria taking on Natty Neidhart and Layla. During the match with Natty and Maria in the ring, Layla draws the attention of the referee, allowing Michelle to hop the security wall and attack Beth. She sends her into the wall back first. Natty takes advantage of this and covers Maria for the win. Layla hops down and joins Michelle as they mock Beth and then leave. John Morrison and Mickie James are talking backstage about their match last week and how well of a team they make. Morrison says he hopes they can team up again more in the future, and Mickie says she'd like that. Drew and Eric stroll up and ask John if he knows who Taker's fifth man is. John says that even if he knew who it was, he wouldn't tell them. Drew says that he'd better watch himself, especially since he's outnumbered. Eric says that it would be a shame if something happened to Mickie because John wasn't being smart. Finley walks up from the opposite side and says they don't have to pressure John. I'll be glad to tell you who's the fifth man is. It's me! And since you two are looking for a fight, why don't you take me on tonight? John intercedes and says, how about making it a tag match? Finley says he likes that idea, and Drew says they'll see him in the ring. The Hart Dynasty go over Dolph Ziggler and Charlie Haas. This is a quick-paced 10-minute match that sees DH pin Charlie. Post-match, Dolph is pissed and gives Charlie his finisher. Matt's getting ready for his match when Punk comes up to him. I didn't come to fight or trick you, Matt. Punk goes on to say that he's here, believe it or not, as a friend. Matt doesn't believe him for a second. Punk says that Taker is a horrible team captain. He's hardly around, he's picked Batista over Ray, and he's shouldering Matt with all of the team responsibility. Matt won't hear of it, saying that Taker's absence is understandable. Punk just smiles and says he used to be as naive as Matt. Matt gets in his face and says that he's been around long enough not to buy anything a young Punk has to sell. Punk backs off, smiling the whole time, pats Matt on the chest and wishes him luck against Kane. Kane versus Matt is up next. Both men have a close back and forth match. Goes on for maybe 15 minutes, but Kane eventually comes out on top, overpowering Matt, much to the chagrin of the audience. Finley and Morrison go over McIntyre and Escobar, a good 15-minute match. Eric and Drew try to use underhanded tactics, but Finley eventually pins Escobar, and Drew doesn't seem too pleased that Eric cost them the win.